What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, everybody. I am out here on the road again in Houston, Texas. I'm out here at Anime Matsuri with the kids. It's kind of the father-son trips we take every year. It's a good time. I'm having a blast. But I did want to take some time to make a couple of videos in regards to Superman, especially with this Thursday box office that just came in. The previews are huge. And I didn't know what to expect after I saw it on Tuesday. I was wondering, hey, how is this going to really hit with audiences? Is the positive word of mouth that it's getting early on going to send people into the theaters, or are people going to wait for a full weekend to pass? Well, I mean, it looks like they got the job done straight up. Superman soars to $22 million plus in previews, best year to date and record for James Gunn, higher than Barbie. So the box office is looking actually pretty good. It's off to a good start when it comes to Superman, the Thursday previews. They actually did combine the Thursday and the Tuesday previews. So for anybody that saw it on the Tuesday night with the Amazon Prime early access, if you saw it then, they combined those numbers in with Thursday to give it the $22 million plus. It's a good start. Let's be honest. It's a good start for this film. I think the film is very mid. I think it's a mid movie. I don't hate the movie. I don't think it's a terrible movie, but I don't think it did the job that it needed to do to really get the DCU jump started. All right. Because I really don't have a strong interest in what's coming next, and I know what's coming next. It's Supergirl. All right. Supergirl for me is not, it's not the character that you bring out first or second or third. Supergirl should be like maybe your fifth or sixth character if you're trying to build something up. But nevertheless, the audiences liked what they got out of Superman. All right. You can see it right here on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience score is solid, 95%. That's the verified. And even if you dip into the actual full audience ratings, the all audience is at 90%. All right. And then you have the top critics. Top critics is 73%. So, I mean, the scores are pretty much holding steady. And I know a lot of people don't really pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes. It doesn't tell you what you want to know or what you want to hear because there's a lot of shilling going on. I completely agree with that. But it does kind of give you a overall broad look at what a film is doing at the moment, in a given moment in time. Because a lot of people come to Rotten Tomatoes and a lot of people do give legit reviews. So when you look at all critics, 82%, you look at the top critics, 73, verified audience, 95, and then all audience, 90. It's holding steady. All right. It's holding steady. But yeah, let's go ahead and see what was up with this box office. Higher than Barbie is actually pretty solid. Is this going to get the job done? Does Warner Brothers have another hit on their hands? Let's check it out. So this is updated Friday after exclusive. Warner Brothers is seeing 22.5 million in all previews for James Gunn's Superman. Not only is that still the best previews year to date and a record for James Gunn, but it's higher than the previews for last year's or the 2023, actually, Barbie at 22.3 million, but that was only a 3-day, right? So that's only the 3-day, not including an extra day. So it does have an extra day in its back pocket. And then ahead of all the previews for Matt Reeves, the Batman, which did 21.6 million, $134 million opening in 2022. So if you think about it, it's ahead of Barbie, sure, it's ahead of Batman, but these are two wildly different numbers, all right? 162 million was Barbie's opening, and then 134 for Batman. I think it might fall somewhere in the middle, which is around 145 to $150 million. And you might have heard me on the previous video. If it does $150 million, I feel that's fair. I feel that's a fair number. It's an honest number, considering that, superhero movies are in the decline right now, and a lot of people are not rocking with superhero movies. So if it does $150 million opening weekend, even though it probably needs to be somewhere around 180, if it does 150, it got the job done, in my opinion, for that. What do audiences think? It's a 78% definite recommend on PostTrack for general audiences. You can take that to the bank seriously. 5 stars from kids under 12 and parents. Superman is flying around anywhere. Yeah. So this is a kids movie 100%. And if you do have kids, I think your kids are going to enjoy it. You'll probably have a good time with your kids. If you're more of an adult, all right, if you're going in there from the ages of, let's say, 25 and up, you don't have kids, you're probably going to be like, it was okay. And I see some people that do like the movie. All right. A lot of people in the older generations do like the movie, and that's fine. I have no problem with people having a different opinion than I do. I expect that. I don't want everybody to share my opinion. What fun would that be? But again, just my opinion, I think James Gunn did not launch this universe off the way he needs to launch it off. And one of the biggest problems isn't so much with the character of Superman, it's with the story that he's telling around Superman and how there's a lot of plot conveniences that seem to come together super quick. I felt like James Gunn needed another 20, 25 minutes of storytelling to really beef up the story that he was trying to tell us. And it might have been a better experience, at least for me. But nevertheless, I think people are rocking with it. They bring up this Donald Trump tweet. The symbol of hope, truth, justice, the American way, Superman, Trump. Yeah, so Trump had his say in it as well. He changes the S on the chest. I noticed that. Hey, look, everybody's into Superman. Superman is an American icon. All right. So I think it's going to do much better in America than it's going to do overseas. But the question is it really going to resonate with people and make people want to go and check out the DCU? Because that's really what James Gunn's job was, is to launch a universe at a time where people aren't really rocking with superhero universes. That's the question. Can you do that? Because if James Gunn can launch this thing and then everybody's flocking in to watch Supergirl and people are tuning in to the rated R Peacemaker, like, all right, families, we just saw Superman. Families and kids will love Superman. Oh, Mom, what's next up in the DCU? Oh, Peacemaker season 2. Like, how is this all going to blend together, James Gunn? I don't know. This is going to be interesting to see. But yeah, you can trust, for the most part, Rotten Tomatoes is going to give you the normie point of view. When you look at the fans and the hardcores, you go to critic lists. And over on critical list right now, this is what Superman is rating. Decent. All right. And that's kind of where I had it as well. It's a little bit, I don't call it decent. I call it mid. All right. I call it mid. It's not necessarily meh. It's just a middle of the road type of movie. It's nothing to get excited about. And that's what you need. You need Superman to be something you can get pumped up about, something you can get excited about, something you can't wait to go back to the theaters and watch again and again and again. That's how the Marvel Cinematic Universe got going. All right. It wasn't just, we had a couple of good movies. Decent movies. No, it was great movie after great movie after great movie, and they built upon each other. Superman doesn't feel like it's doing that at all. All right. Superman feels like it's just like, yeah, it's a good movie. I might check it out again, maybe, but I'm not pumped to see, okay, what's going to happen next? What about the Justice Game? Hey, what's going to happen to Lex Luthor after all of this? What happens to him? Who's the next hero that they've introduced? That's coming up next. Well, they did put Peacemaker in. I don't know how this is going to feel if little kids are going to want to go and check out Peacemaker season 2 after watching Superman, since they did put Peacemaker in there. It'll be interesting to see. But overall, again, I think this is a very suspect start to the DCU. Now, can James Gunn stick the landing with future movies? Yes. All right. If he gets out of the way, I don't think he was the right person to do Superman in the first place. I think James Gunn probably should have handed this off to a different director, somebody that has a different sensibility, more hopeful, less cynical. And I think Superman does have, David Cornsweet does have those chops. He looks like Superman. He sounds like Superman. He's very tall and statuesque. You can see him being a good Superman for a superhero cinematic universe. But how does James Gunn put this all together with everything that he's developed so far? I'm interested in seeing if he can do it, because I have a feeling that he cannot. I have a feeling that this is going to be a major struggle. He's got to get Batman and Wonder Woman in here ASAP. And it looks like neither one of those projects have been developed as of yet. Going back to this Deadline article, Gunn told the Sunday Times last week, Superman is the story of America, an immigrant that came from other places and populated the country. But for me, it's mostly a story that says basic human kindness is a value and something we have lost. Yeah, all of the stuff that they threw in there about politics, it's not in the movie. It's not an immigrant story. Maybe he means the overall story of Superman, but his movie, it's not about immigration or anything like that. If anything, I would say Superman, his movie is about Superman trying to find out who he is, or trying to get the world to, really embrace him. He's up against his first major challenge. He has a few defeats. Obviously, you can see that in the trailers, and he's struggling to try to, balance that while it seems like everybody in the world is turning their back on him. And so it is a supersized problem. Again, the story is there. He just didn't develop it enough to me. I felt he needed some more time to really dive into certain characters, certain plot points, really flesh those out and let people sit with it for a minute and let it resonate with your audience instead of just going fast, fast, fast. We got to get to the next scene, because that's what it felt like he did. But yeah, overall, I think, this article just kind of goes into, some of the other criticisms that are out there. But overall, how does this look? All right. People are saying 140 to 150 million plus for the weekend. I think if he hits $150 million, that gets the job done. It really gets the job done. That's exactly where James Gunn needs this movie to land. And then the word of mouth has to take off from here. In my opinion, $750 million is the floor for success. It's the floor. It's not the top. They're talking about, if it hits 700 million, we're good. No, it has to hit 750 million as the floor. All right. That means that enough people went to watch it and enjoyed it and thought that it was decent enough. In my opinion, in my real opinion, $850 million is the goal. All right. That's the goal. It's not the ceiling. It's the goal. And if it hits 850, James Gunn's got to hit. Because despite how I feel and others may feel, if it hits $850 million at this stage of the game for superhero movies, we're talking about a successful run. All right. We're talking about a very successful launch to a new superhero universe, again, at a time where superhero universes, a lot of people just ain't feeling them. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. I'm gonna have some more videos coming up later on today. Did you see Superman already? Did it get the job done for you? How much do you think it needs to do comfortably to feel like, yeah, James Gunn started his universe off in a good way? All right, let me know in the comments, but you guys tell me what you think. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.